Hello and welcome to today's lesson. My name is Colin Padilla. Hit me with that subscribe and like and comments and all that fun stuff. Today I wanted to talk about this really useful tool, playing thirds on two sets of strings as a little highway to get from one part of the neck to the next. Thirds are like the building blocks of music. You might already know this stuff. But you can learn something new every time you watch different people play different things, if that makes any sense. But yeah, I was just gonna start on the A and the D. I got this awesome little diagram going on here. So check this out. Let's see if I can get it. It glares really bad because I'm right next to the window. But so this crazy looking thing. So we're gonna be in the key of C. It's just a really easy key to think in, but you can apply this thing to any key. So we're going to start on C and we're going to go all the way until we get back to C. We don't go to H. After we get to G, we go right back to A. Under here in the purple, this is going to be a third higher. So whenever we go from C to E, that would be a third interval. That would be a major third, really happy sound. And then whenever we go from D to F, we get another third, but this one's going to be a minor third. So this whole thing is just broken up into major and minor thirds. And the difference between them is a major third is 4 frets or 4 half steps, and then a minor third is 3 frets or 3 half steps. And these guys are really cool because they lead you into bigger chords, 4-note chords, 5-note chords, and all that fun stuff. The next line is these are going to be each one of the tonalities. So big M would just be major, little m would be minor. Number 7, let's see. Number 7 is diminished. I'll explain what that means later, but it's just going to be another minor third, but it's good to just kind of make sure you remember that one's diminished. On the very bottom here, this is very important. These are just Roman numerals, just showing 1 through 8. Number 1 is the same as number 8, so I just wrote number 1 again. But the same kind of process with the M's as the Roman numerals. If you have a big Roman numeral, it's going to be major. If you have a small Roman numeral, it's going to be minor. So we go major, minor, minor, major, major, minor, diminished, major. And all we're going to be doing is harmonizing this beautiful major scale, and it sounds really cool. And you can use the same shapes for a lot of different sets of strings. The only one that's different is the G and the B, because if we go from E to A, what's kind of weird about intervals is you have to count the one that you're on. So like say I want to go from C to D, 3 to 5. I'm not going to go 1. I have to count the interval that I start from, or I have to count the note that I start from. So it'd be 1, 2. So when I do, so E to A, or tuning, would be a 4th, and then A to D would be a 4th. D to G is a 4th, but then when we get to B, G to B, that becomes a 3rd. So it's really weird. It kind of shifts everything a little bit, but I'll show that in this video. And then when you go to the B in the high E, that's another 4th, so you can use the same shapes. After I show the major scale on one string, I like to go to the thirds because sometimes the chords for beginners are kind of hard because you're holding so many strings down, and it gives you a chance to kind of get that motion of going up and down the neck, which is really important. But I'm going to zoom in here, get a little closer to the neck so we can see what's going on, and we'll just jump right into it. Alright, cool. So let's see. So how I'm going to reference all this is, you might already know this chord, you might not, it's totally cool. So this is the C chord, and the reason I'm talking about thirds is because they're, like I said, the building blocks of music. So once we get this idea down, we can start to build bigger and better chords. Well, all chords are good. But you're going to start here on the 3rd fret of the A, and then you're going to go to the 2nd fret of the D. So whenever I go from this A string to this D string, that would create that 3rd interval. That would be going from that C to that E, like on that little whiteboard diagram I made. So there's our major shape. And the reason I like to use my third finger is because when we go to the next note, over 2 frets, which would be our D note, when we make the minor third, all you have to do is substitute that first finger for the second, or vice versa. Substitute the second finger for the first. So you go 3 and 2, and then 3 and 1. Major third, minor third. And just knowing those 2 shapes, you can do this whole pattern. The reason I start right here is because this is C, and it starts at the lowest part of the guitar pretty much, and so you can kind of have a good starting point. But here's our C. Here's our D minor, 5 and 3. And when I'm doing this, I'm just using my fingers. You can use your pick and play both of them. I recommend playing them like a chord, and then also playing them back to back, like that, so you can hear the distance. Next one's E minor. So we got our minor third, 7th fret of the A, 5th fret of the D. Then we have our major 8, 7, 10, and 9. This would be our G major. Then here's our 6, our A minor, 12 and 10. Here's our diminished, 14 and 12. And then we have our home again, our major, or our 1. We have 15 and 14. So if I go through it again, we have major, minor, minor, major, major, minor, minor, major. Beautiful. So let's do it one more time. I'll say the fret numbers. So you have third finger on 3 on the A, second finger on 2nd fret of D. Then you have the 5th fret of A, 3rd fret of D, 7th fret, 5th fret on the A, 7 on the A, 5 on the D. Then we have 8 on the A, 7 on the D, 10 on the A, 9 on the D, 12 on the A, 10 on the D, 14 on the A, 12 on the D, 15 on the A, 14 on the D. So after you get the fret numbers and kind of the shape and where they're at, you want to fill in each one of those frets with a letter. It's very important. A lot of guitar players fall into the bad habit of just talking in frets, like, oh, here, I'm at the 5th fret going to the 8th fret. But pretty much almost every other instrument uses musical notes, so if you're trying to communicate, it might be a little hard. If you're like, oh yeah, man, I'm playing this cool riff starting here at the 7th fret and then I'm going to the 5th fret. Piano player might look at you a little funny. Okay, so let's do it again, but now let's say the interval. So we'll say the letters. So we're going C to E, D to F, E to G, F to A, G to B, A to C, B to D, C to E. One more time. C to E, D to F, E to G, F to A, G to B, A to C, B to D, C to E. It's funny, I'll play stuff like that for like a little kid and they'll be like, oh, that sounds like a Christmas song. And I just laugh because most Christmas songs are in the key of C, or they're just in a major key and they just sound really happy. So now what we can do, well, let me explain like the major third and the minor third. So here's our C note on the high E string. You have the 8th fret of the high E. So earlier I said that a major third was 4 half steps or 4 frets. So if I start here, and I go 1, 2, 3, 4. If I go from 8 to 12, which would be going from that C to E like we had up here, that creates our major third. Oh, sorry. to 12. So the minor third is 3 half steps. So if I start here at 8 again, we would have 1, 2, 3. So going from C to E flat. That gets a real sad sound, you know, real dark. Happy, sad. Those are tied directly to building chords, so that's a really good thing to start working on. But let's go to another set of strings. So when you're starting up here, it's not going to be that first C note. Like if I move it up here, like this would kind of be like a G chord almost. This would be like starting at G, but we can even start further back by starting at F. So we're going to have the first fret of the E and then the open A. That would be like our F major, like we had down here. And then we're going to go to G major. Here's our major third again, 3 and 2. So we had 1 and open A, 3 on the E, 2 on the A, and then we're going to get our minor. Here's our A minor. You have 5 to 3, and then you go over to, here's our B minor, or B diminished, my bad, 7 and 5, 7 on the E, 5 on the A, and then we have C major, 8 on the E, 7 on the A. So if we started here, it would be the same as if we started here on the next set of strings. So let's keep going. So here's our C major, then over 2 frets we have our D minor, 10 and 8, and then we go over 2 frets, so we have E minor, 12 and 10, and then we have F major, 13 and 12, G major, 15 and 14, A minor, 17 and 15, B diminished, 19 and 17, and then we have our C major again at, well, let's see, so that's 15, 17, 19, 20, and 19. Awesome. So let's move down to the D string now. So on the E, the A, and the D, it's the same 3 shapes. Or it's the same 2 shapes, but you can use the same 2 shapes for each one of those sets of strings. So when we start here, this would be like if we were on the E chord. So we're going to do E minor, so we're going to play the 2nd fret of D, and then we're going to play the open G below. Let me make sure I'm in tune real quick. But sometimes you have to use the open string just to finish it, because we kind of run out of frets, you know? And plus, some of my favorite riffs use the open strings. They're a really powerful tool. I have to do all this videoing by the window, and it's probably wreaking havoc on my guitar, staying in tune. But it's okay. We continue on. So here's our E minor. We have 2 and then the open G. Here's our F major, 3 and 2. Then we got G major, 5 and 4. A minor, 7 and 5. B diminished, 9 and 7. C major, what is that? 10 and 9. D minor, 12 and 10. E minor, this is the first one we started at. E minor, 12 or 14 and 12. F major, 15 and 14. G major, 17 and 16. A minor, 19 and 17. B diminished, man, I always forget 15, 17, 19, 20, 21. 21 and 19. And then if you have the 22nd fret, that's the reason I kind of bought this guitar. If you have that last fret, you can get the C major again on 22 and 21. So let's see, I'm trying to not get that glare, it's kind of hard. So how you can practice this is you walk it all the way up, and then you're going to, when you get to the very top here, you're just going to walk it down on the next strings. And the whole time I'm doing this, I'm trying to do the chords in my head. C, D, E, F, G, A, B diminished, C, G, F, E, D, C, B diminished, A, G, F, E. Okay, so we just got 2 more sets of strings. The next one we're going to do, so since the B and the G and the B create a third, whenever you play that, that would be like our G chord. Tune up one more time, I'm sorry. Tuning intermission. Alright. So it's really weird, but our minor third looks like our major third that we were using earlier. So there's our minor third, 2 on G, 1 on B, and then here's our B diminished, 4 and 3, and then this is our major shape now. They're kind of stacked on top of each other, and I like to use the second, when I'm on the G and the B, I like to use the second finger on top. You can switch it to your third and pinky or your second and third. It's totally what you want to do, what you got going on, you know? But it's cool because then when you go to that major third, you just move your second finger over and your third finger goes right below. Then we have our minor third again on 7 and 6. Then our minor third again. Here's E minor, 9 and 8. F major, 10 and 10. G major, 12 and 12. A minor, 14 and 13. B diminished. I'm going to be so good at counting these frets by the end of this. So 16 and 15. C major. 17 and 17. D minor. 19 and 18. E minor. 21 and 20. And then that C major would be on the 22nd fret. However many frets you have, just walk it all the way up. Because it's good to know, like, because when you're playing a line, the most exciting thing we can do as a guitar player is go from low to high or high to low. And so when you get way up there, you'll just know what to choose, you know? You'll be like, okay, I know this one's a minor and this one's a major type of thing. Well, we just got one more set of strings and then we got all of them. So here's our C major. We're going to go back to the other shapes that we just did. The only different one is that one we just went through. So this one, we're going to play the first fret of the B, and then we're going to have the open high E. And then we're going to have the third fret of the B, and here's our minor shape that we were using last time. First fret of the high E. Now we have 5 and 3. 8 and 5. No, sorry, that's not 8 and 5. It's 6 and 5. Here's our F major chord. Then we have 8 and 7, 10 and 8, 12 and 10, 13 and 12, and here's our C. Then we have 15 and 13, 17 and 15, 18 and 17, 20 and 19, and then finally here's our last A minor chord. You have 22 and 20. Amazing. Sounds like a Beatles song or something. I'm going to try to do more videos on intervals. The third is just the one I recommend starting with, just because it sounds really pretty, and there's so much you can do with it. You know, you can slide it around everywhere. That was in the key of C major, so if you're looking for something a little more dark, if you go to the relative, which would be A minor, all the same notes, all the same shapes apply in the same spots. They're just going to sound a little more sad, you know, aggressive. yeah, thank you so much for watching this video. I really appreciate it. Keep working on those thirds. I'll try to do like a part 2, and I'll just think of some really cool exercises. That's how you kind of keep it fresh and fun with the guitar, is just always take what you know and just try to think about it in a different way and twist it and jumble up the notes. But I really appreciate you watching. Leave a comment what you thought, and if you have any questions, please let me know. But have a great rest of your day. Peace out.